Now it's time to organize your layers. So you will follow these steps point by point, and then once you have this part done, you will begin to review the videos and create the artwork for the map and the two letters. Or actually, I should say, I believe it's a number and a letter. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our Illustrator document. And I want to just first point out that this is the 2020 version of Illustrator, which is pretty similar to past versions of Illustrator. They move things around, they simplify the processes here and there. But again, what I want to point out is I'm using Essentials for the newer videos. The older videos, which are still relevant, the interface will look a little different. So you can just go to Essentials Classic, and now the interface will look much more like the interface in the videos. All right, being said, I'm going to go back to Essentials, and we're going to take a look at our layers. So I'm just going to take my layers and move my layers right over here. Okay. And you'll see that we have a default layer 1. I want you to rename this layer template. So just double click, type in template, and then hit your return key. All right, what you are going to do is use the templates that I included in the challenge folder you downloaded. So let me find that real quick here. And I'm not sure what I did with, oh, here it is, preview. Too much stuff open on my desktop here. All right, so you're going to open up the template.png file, and it's going to be your responsibility to create this text, which you see. And I should point out, if I open it up here, here's the text file, okay? Here's the map, and here's the number and the letter, which you are going to embed into your template. And then again, here's the template file with the basic layout that I want you to create. So the font size, leading, I'm going to leave that up to your best judgment, but your task is to create what you see here the best you can. Okay? All right, so let's go back to Illustrator. And before I do, I'm just going to take a quick look here. We're going to have our template. Okay? The template is where you're going to add all of your text. All right. Then we're going to create an images layer. This is where we are going to place the map, the number, and the letter. And then we'll create a third layer, and this is going to be your work area. This is the layer which you will use to create the artwork over the top of these two images, which we will create shadows of. All right, let's go back. We now have templates, and we'll create a new layer. This one will be images. Now remember, the type that you're going to add will go on the template layer, the two images on the image layer. So let's go ahead and import our two images. So we'll go to File, Place. Here's our challenge folder. Here's the map, which happens to be a Photoshop document. Now you're going to see that there's an option here for link. I'm going to remove link, and at this time we do not need to enable any of these other options. Okay, so let's go ahead and place, and we'll just place our cursor right here and click once. Okay, And now let's go ahead and get our second image. So we will place, and we will place the number and the letter. Again, make sure we remove the link option, and we will place. Now, the shortcut for showing your rulers is Command R. On a PC, it would be Control R, but you should be able to get to your rulers in the View menu also. Okay, rulers right here. Okay, and you can use guides. So if we just go over to our ruler well with our arrow here and drag a guide over. All right, now keep in mind when you add guides in Illustrator, they're going to go onto the layer which is currently selected. All right, so we could use these guides, and then I'm just using the arrow key to move my images around to get them lined up. I'll leave that up to you how you want to move them around, but you can use guides to help you with your alignment. All right, now we're going to create another layer, and this one is going to be, let's just take a quick look. I believe it's the student work area. So we'll call this one student. And no big deal if you see, sometimes I use hyphens, sometimes I use underscores. I just try to never leave spaces in the names. So we're going to go ahead and press return. And let's select our images. And if I double click on the icon for the images layer, I can go ahead and dim the images. So I'm going to try 50%, then click OK. And you'll see that the image is in fact dim back. So I'll click on the icon here for the image layer, double click, and let's try 30%. Okay, so what you're going to do is dim the two images back so it will be easier to work over the top. Okay, now let's just double check before we move on here. So I'm going to go to the window menu, and I'm looking for links, and in this panel I'm going to look to verify that my two images are in fact embedded, and I should see these two bitmap icons here. And if they're not, if you don't see the icons, then you want to select your images, the two images, and you would embed them. Okay, so right now they are embedded, so that option is not available. But if these were still linked, then we would see the option to embed. And that's what you want to do. Make sure your images are embedded so they become part of the document, that they're no longer linked to the files you placed. All right, I believe we have covered just about everything. To reiterate on the template, this is where you are going to get your text, and you are going to basically, you are going to recreate what you see here from the text on the text file. So you're going to copy paste your text, format your text. That will go on the template. When you're done, you will lock the template. Once you have your map placed and your letters placed and the border placed around your map, then you will lock the images layer. You will keep the student work area unlocked, and this is where you will go step by step to recreate all of the line work, all of the artwork for the map, and then also recreating the 5 and the R. Now, real quickly, I'm going to zoom in, and you'll see that this artwork has what's called an alias around. And this is where we see these little steps, and the steps have different values of gray, and these values of gray are there to soften the edges. Instead of being bitmapped, which would be a sawtooth, this is aliased, which we have a transition from the background color of the artwork to the background color of the substrate. Now what you'll notice here is this, especially when we zoom in, we can see this aliased edge. I don't want you to recreate this exactly as you see here, meaning I don't want you to go in and make artwork to go around each of these pixels. I want you to recreate the number and the letter so you would have nice straight lines, nice curves, okay? So straighter lines, diagonals, curves. Okay, don't be so literal where you're getting all of this jaggy stuff in here. I just wanted to point that out. All right, I believe we are all set up, and you are ready. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and lock these just to be sure. So images locked, template locked, images embedded. All of your type is on the template layer. The student work layer is where you will recreate the map, the number, and the letter. All right, I believe we are ready to move on.